I'm Isabel Lorna and you're watching Passenger Princess. Welcome to my first episode of Passenger Princess. I would normally have a guest in the driver's seat, but I thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you a bit more about myself and what the podcast is going to be about. So if you don't know me, my name's Isabel. I'm an influencer in the UK and I also run a marketing agency. How I got into this was basically I left school when I was 18. I went to do an apprenticeship in a law firm and I started posting TikToks about it. This was in the lockdown when TikTok was really starting to boom and everyone was growing on TikTok really fast. And I basically kickstarted the corporate TikTok trend. Sometimes I show people my first ever TikToks and they're like, oh, that's you. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I feel like there's been like 6 different versions of myself so far. So I was basically doing an apprenticeship, posting about it, and then I was introduced into this big wide world of influencing and creating, and I started earning money from posting TikToks. I started getting brand deals, and it kind of reached a point where I was getting like 2, 3, 4 times my monthly salary to post one video on TikTok, and I just thought, okay, this isn't really a good business model I've got going here. I need to pivot. So I actually went to buy a Chanel bag, random story, from who is now one of my marketing agency's clients. And I bought the bag. I got like a £500 discount for posting a TikTok. It was a Chanel classic flap. And Ayaz, who's a co-founder of Celia, said, what are you going to do when you finish your apprenticeship? And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to start a marketing agency. That was always my dream, to start a marketing agency. And he was like, well, why don't you just do that now? And I was like, oh yeah, I could just do that now. Kind of went away, didn't really think anything more of it. Carried on posting my TikToks, whatnot. And then someone else phoned me up that I knew and said, hey, can you help me with our TikTok account, like for this bar or whatever it was? And I was like, hold on a minute. I'm really good at posting TikToks and other people want me to post their TikToks. So why don't I just quit my job and launch a social media agency? And that way I've kind of done something from a 9 to 5. I've not just quit and become another influencer, and I've got like a bit more of a purpose. So literally a week later, I quit my job and I launched a marketing agency called VAR Social, which I still run to this day. It's about 3 years old now. And something I think people don't talk about is like the downfall of creators when they quit their 9 to 5. So everyone claps for you and you get loads of followers and you do really well, and then you quit your job to become a full-time influencer and no one cares about you anymore. And I think the only reason I've managed to make it past that pivot is because I set up a separate business that I've kind of weaved into my brand personality. Quite a lot of people will notice the TikToks we make for our clients and they'll be like, oh, that's really similar to your content. And I'm like, that's because I made it. So I've kind of developed this content style, which is what I would describe as kind of luxurious with a humorous edge. And I like to keep things down to earth, which is exactly why I'm sat in my first ever car, which is a Ford Ka, which I still have. Oh, my engine's beeping, so I'm going to turn it off before the battery goes flat. I posted a TikTok in this the day I hit 1 million followers on TikTok, and I basically got out of the Ka with my Hermes Kelly and like threw the keys, and it went super viral. And I was like, why is that video done so well? And then I realised it's because I'm showing my whole audience that I'm actually just a normal girl. Like, I still drive around in my Ford. Could I get a new car if I wanted one? Of course. But I'm actually really happy in my Ford Ka, and I think that kind of sums me up as a person quite well. I'm just a 24-year-old girl at the end of the day from Bristol, and I'm quite happy driving around in my Ford Ka. And the car's kind of become part of my branding, because I'm connecting to my audience and showing them that they are actually the same as me and I'm just a normal girl. So why have I started a podcast in my car? Firstly, you guys love the car, so I wanted to weave it into my content in a different format. And secondly, a lot of my followers are young females, in their early 20s, in their late 20s, or in their teens, and everyone's super interested in careers. Everyone wants to do well and earn money. And I think if I knew how many different careers there were when I was in school, I would have felt much more motivated and happy going to school. I hated school. I hated learning. I hated classes. I can't think of anything worse right now than like going to university or going to sixth form. I hated it. And if I'd known then how many different jobs there were in all of the industries, I wouldn't have minded going to school because it was just one phase, and I knew once it was over, I could actually go and work a job that I love. So basically, the point of this podcast isn't just to be another gossip podcast where I have other influencers on and my friends on. The point of this podcast is to show you, through people I know, all the different careers that you can do that exist in the world. I mean, some of the clients we have at our marketing agency, I meet the most random, bizarre people working the most random jobs you've never heard of. As an example, one of our clients makes bespoke luxury wardrobes, and every time we do a photo shoot, we have a set stylist come in, and she makes everything look beautiful and amazing and on theme and on brand. And that is her job. Her job is to go into a space, tidy it up and make it look amazing. And this isn't like a low paid job. This is like a very successful career she has doing it. And like, if I'd have known back then, you can have a career in essentially tidying things up and making them look nice and organising them, I would have been like, what? And it's just all these things you don't get taught at school and you don't find out unless, you know someone that knows someone. I want to use my platform to share with you guys. So I've got some amazing guests lined up. I've got business owners. I've got people that work 9-to-5 roles. I've got my friends coming on that have random weird jobs. And I just want to use this as a safe space to learn, and also for you guys to get to know me a bit more, because I never sit and speak like this. Everyone that meets me in real life says, oh, you're so different in person, not in a bad way, but you're just like so normal and chatty. And I don't really have any space online to be like that. So this is the space. I basically I'm a full-time influencer, and I also run a marketing agency. There are a lot of comments I get online all the time about, oh, this girl's from a wealthy family, or she's an escort, she's a hooker, she's this, she's that. Like, none of the money is actually hers. I run a business, I work with brands doing influencing, and I obviously show off what I'm doing, all the brand trips I'm going on, all the trips and things I'm buying, because that's the content I choose to share. I don't share much about my marketing agency. Maybe I should share more. But, you can go on my TikTok and see I'm in Mykonos and I'm in Saint-Tropez and I'm here and I'm there. The reality is that most days I spend like on the phone, sat at my desk upstairs and actually working. And that is another reason why you shouldn't believe everything you see online, because what you post online is the best highlights of someone's life. And the job I have, it's actually really difficult to show you what I'm doing because it's all on my phone. So I can't film my phone like a screen recorder, but that would be a bit weird. Day to day, I'm normally working with clients we have for the marketing agency, like running around doing shoots for them, editing, coming out of creative briefs, coming out of new campaigns, or I am on a brand trip, or I'm on set filming something, or I'm shooting brand deals, and that's kind of it. There's nothing else to it. There's nothing to hide. So whilst I know it seems like quite confusing, it's really hard to share everything I do, and that's another reason I want to do this, because you guys get a bit more of an insight into what I do, who I know, and who I am. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to make this episode too long. And I'm really excited to go on this podcast journey with you and show you guys some insight into some amazing people. So yeah, bye for now, and I'll see you on episode 2.